Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this is Taking Care of Business. Joining me today is Zubin Kothawala, who is CEO of Skymount Medical in Calgary. Thanks, Zubin, for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasher. Thank you, Mario.
Well, thank you for joining us. And quite exciting news you guys have to share out there that you just announced here recently. Starting clinical trials on a COVID pill. Can you explain what that's all about and how this came to be and what's happening?
Well, we at Skymount Medical, we're partnered with Louisiana State University, and we have an AI-based drug discovery company. And over the last year and a half, we quickly developed an antiviral pill. Now, it's not just one pill. We also have a treatment for children, but we realized that the virus was elusive. It was changing, it was mutating. Yeah. So we decided that we're going to protect the body and build a pill, an antiviral pill, for everyone to take when they get COVID, whether you're asymptomatic to severe. Originally, we were targeting asymptomatic to moderate, the people outside the hospital, but now we realize that it's effective in severe patients as well. So we're in clinical trials in California at UC Riverside, and we're doing human efficacy and safety. Because these are repurposed FDA-approved drugs already, we're just recombining them into a new molecule. So there's no actual new drug. So they already have a safety profile. So the track to getting to market is very quick, as long as we could show safety. Now, we are also in clinical trials, late trials in the Ukraine. We're in 5 hospitals. And we just got approved by the MHRA in the UK to start clinical trials in the UK under the Antiviral Task Force. So this is a product that is basically, vaxxed or not, if you get COVID, take our pills, and it should go away in a few days. And the reason we went after this is because we started to see a lot of problems. People were getting a lot of inflammation, vascular problems, lung problems, blood clotting, brain disorders, they're losing their sense of taste. There's a lot of things that are happening. So we wanted to find a drug that not only protects you from the COVID protein from entering your cell and replicating, but also addressing the symptoms. And that is our prime thing, is to protect you from having long-term problems. So that's what we have. And we accelerated this through the use of artificial intelligence and having a very large database of drugs.
Can you talk a little bit about that artificial intelligence and how that is used in this? And maybe if you could explain it for the non-technological type people like myself, so I can understand this.
Okay, absolutely. So Deep Drug, that's the name of our platform. It's been in development for 10 years with Louisiana State University's Computer Science Department. The inventor, Dr. Supatrick Mukhopadhyay, has dedicated his life to improving human life using technology. And he's like, if we let him go, if we had $100 million and let him go, he would solve a lot of illnesses around the world. And that is part of our plan. But Dr. Mukhopadhyay started a platform in 2012. By the time 2015 rolled around, they were invited to enter Deep Drug into the IBM Watson X Prize, which is a global artificial intelligence competition. And it's a 5-year competition. They were entered in 2016, and just this year they were named a finalist. So this is out of 142 companies. So this is a very big feat. They made the top 10, which is a very big feat. Now, the artificial intelligence is a lot of people talk about AI these days. There's AI in every Tesla, and Amazon's got AI. Everyone's got AI, but some of it's logic. Some of it is thinking. Ours is the thinker. who makes decisions without human interaction. So we have a database of over 250,000 drugs because the university was funded by the NIH in the US. They had access to a database of over 250,000 drugs. Imagine all the experiments, all the wins and the failures, the animal tests, the human studies of over 250,000 drugs, and having it in the frontal lobe of your brain. So then you go look at this influenza and you go, well, I have 18 drugs that I know will work. That's what our AI did. But it actually picked up 2,000 drugs that are available today. And then we had to filter it down to cost, patents, things like that. We brought it down to 56 drugs. And then 56 drugs is what we went to in vitro. To get to that point, most companies take about 5 to 7 years. We did it in one afternoon. So that's the difference. All we did was analyze the virus, look at the human proteins that are affected by the virus, and address those. And the AI went to work. So and when we have results from the lab, we feed it back into the AI, and it gets smarter. And it says, well, maybe we should try combining these drugs based on your results, and maybe take this one now. And so that's what happens. Is basically, it's like having a doctor with every lab test for over 250,000 drugs available in his brain. And every single test, every single failure and win. And that's what we have, the ability to do that. And that we can produce drugs for illnesses all over the world now and be able to do it for a very low expense because of the fact that you're not spending $100 million. We managed to build multiple COVID treatments, and we're in clinical, late clinical, for under $10 million. And we did it in a record time of less than 15 months. And it was 15 months because we have to wait in line to get into animal testing, and it takes 3 months. So we would have been further along if we had our own labs.
So tell me, in terms of this trial right now in California, how long is that going to be? And when do you expect the product to come to market?
California, it's already initiated. They're recruiting patients and they're treating them. The study runs for 30 days. We should have results by Christmas or the beginning of January. Again, we're arm's length from these studies because we're called the sponsor. So we expect results sometime early January because it depends on the enrollment, right?
Yeah.
Now we're seeing Delta, the new variants of Delta are coming up in California again. So we expect results around early January, similar to the Ukraine. Now in the Ukraine, the difference there is we're also doing MRIs of the lungs. And we're taking blood to show the actual viral load reduction as they take our pills. So in total, our study's 210 patients. Again, these are all safe drugs already. So we're going to take the data from the Ukraine and the data from California. We're going to submit it to the Canadian government, to Health Canada, to the FDA, to the EU. We're going to be raising money for the MHRA, the UK trials. They're the most expensive trials in the world. So we're going to eventually fund that one as well. But the results from these 2 trials that are going on right now should be suffice to get us emergency use authorization. And then that usually takes 2 to 3 weeks in the Ukraine, because the Ukraine represents 12 countries, the CIS countries. And so I have a feeling they're going to be our first approval. Second will be FDA. Third will be Canada.
Okay. And when do you think, when's a reasonable time frame for this to be in the market?
I really hope we can get to market by March.
Wow.
Really hope.
2 years
People are
after.
dying, and I know I could help. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that'd be like 2 years since it all started, right?
Since the day I signed an agreement with LSU to fund the program,
Uh-huh. Wow.
it's there was a lot of wasted time in there, waiting around, and there was. If I was to condense it, I could probably have done it in 6 months.
I'm just curious, how did the LSU connection come to be?
My background, I'm an IT guy.
Oh, okay.
I run IT programs. I've done so for 15 years. Cloud computing, analytics, processing drone data, terabytes upon terabytes of data, and being able to draw data out of them. And I worked with the Canadian military, the US military, and Chris Galliano, our CTO and co-founder from Louisiana, was the executive officer of Navy SPAWAR, which is the US Navy's think tank, high-tech guys. And we met through friends at NATO. And so we got to work together. And we started working with LSU's AI platform for industrial uses. And with the knowledge that deep drug was being developed, and we were planning to build a agreement with them to commercialize their artificial intelligence products. Because that's the thing with universities. They have such great ideas, young minds, and ingenuity, yet it can never make it to market because they don't have a commercialization ability.
Yeah.
And that's why it takes the commercial world to do this.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Skymount, as a company. When did it start? And a little bit of what you guys do.
Well, Skymount Medical Group was opened for this particular purpose.
Okay.
Now, I want you to understand that we're building a platform to make any drug. The plan is we're not going to be a manufacturer and distributor. We're doing COVID because it's a big subject, and it'll prove our platform that it works, that it saves 10 to 15 years in drug development. Imagine being able to produce all these drugs for a low cost. Healthcare, it's going to change healthcare. It's going to change pharma. So Skymount Medical was formed for the purpose of building a commercialized artificial intelligence-based drug discovery platform where we help other companies and other pharma, universities, even sublicensing a country in Africa, because they've got a rare disease that big pharma will not touch because it costs too much. Mm-hmm. So I'm Kish Wassan, Dr. Kish Wassan, our chief medical officer, who was the dean of pharmacy at U of S. He works with Vito. He spent his life in diseases, and he is now the co-founder and director of global neglected diseases at UBC. And he is sorry, there was someone looking at my window, and it's kind of odd from the outside. No, he's focusing and dedicated his life with his wife in helping people with hard to solve diseases that are horrible. And one of them is the black fungus. It's a blood disorder. And he spent 15 years on this. And if he would have met us 15 years ago, we would have accelerated this drug program of his into a few months. And so now we're working on that as well. And this has been in India. So India is having a lot of problems with black fungus in the blood. And it's horrible and ugly because it makes people's eyes bleed and it makes you have internal bleeding. And it's a byproduct. It's accelerated through COVID infections. Oh. And they're prone to that in that part of the world. Yeah. And right now, Kish has developed an oral version so you could distribute it easily. As soon as you say it's injected, it makes it limited. But if you could just send pills out everywhere, and we're going to be doing drone delivery. So we're actually developing a drone drug delivery platform.
Wow.
So that's kind of what we're all about. And Skymount has an industrial side of it, not side of the company, but we have a industrial AI side that's working with drones and inspections of pipelines using the same core algorithms.
Yeah.
And so it's a AI is the future.
Yeah.
And it's going to create efficiencies and it's going to help people.
Yeah, most
So
definitely.
that's what we're all about.
All right, super. Well, that was fascinating, Zubin. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain what's going on and in your world and in our world. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
Super. That was Zubin Kothawala, who is CEO of Skymount Medical in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.